Good evening, everyone, or day, wherever you are. I hope you can hear me well. I'm just gonna wait for my friend Ali, who's gonna join us tonight for some small talk. Yes, just give us a second. Just have to find a way of doing this. You just need to ask for to sign in for it. So this is my first time doing this, and his too, so we'll see how fast and we can learn this now. Joining alive. So Ali, you need to ask me to join. There should be an option to join. Yes. Okay, let's see if it's gonna work. Connecting. Oh, hi. Yay, did it.
Hold on. I'm just trying to make this aligned, but I guess I'll just do it like that. Yeah.
We have plenty of time. Cool. Welcome. Hi, I'm really happy that you took this time.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this. So that's the idea. The idea is to just go with the flow, have fun,
Yes.
discuss everything that we want to discuss, and just.
So I guess we were talking about a couple of days before something about the death and life, and just wanted to share our opinions and our stories in life that we actually went through. Yes.
Awesome. Well,
or I don't know if you prepared anything. I didn't prepare anything. So let's
well, we can talk about our personal experiences first, right? We can start with personal experience. Where have you been close to death in your life? Or we can talk about general how different cultures look at death and what it is. Because in my conscious years, like I haven't had close to death experience to realize what is death, but I have a lot of cultural references about death, like the way Maasai see it and the way, basically the way the tribal people see it. But my
religion in general as well.
Yeah. We can talk about religion, about Christians, and compare and see. And then I'll tell you my personal view on death. Obviously everyone wants to know personal opinions. Not what they think or she thinks or what we think.
Perfect. That sounds cool. Yes. Did you ever do that? I don't know.
So one of my first experiences was when I was 3 years old at the Caspian Sea. I was on a ship, and there was a motorboat attached to the ship. So that motorboat, they had an issue with an engine, and so my mom let me be there on the motorboat. I was there for how long? Maybe like 10 minutes. And I was like at the very beginning of motorboat, and at the end they had the engine. So they were fixing the engine, and I was just looking at the water, and this was the middle of the Caspian Sea, which is huge. And so finally they started, the whole boat jerked, and I tipped over, and I fell down. And no one noticed anything because they were still busy fixing it. And so I was gradually submerging, sinking, just like
Wow.
And then what happened, I mean, from my mom's words, is that she felt a jolt within her that something is wrong with her son, and she was way out on the boat. And so she asked one of the chief commanders, like, "Where's my son? Where's my son?" He said, "Well, he was supposed to be on the motorboat."
Mm-hmm.
And then she started looking, and boom, um, I was nowhere to be found. And he saw something, so he either saw my arm or I don't know what he saw, but he saw something is sinking, and then he jumped and saved me. I was unconscious at the time.
That's really
So that was my first experience
wow.
near death. Obviously, I didn't realize anything. What is death? What is like? I didn't. There was no takeaway from it. It's just I remember that experience, but I don't remember anything about takeaways. Uh,
Did you feel
no.
fear when you were in that situation? Do you recognize, like, were you afraid of water or something after that, or not really?
Oh yes, yes, yeah. I'm one of the worst swimmers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like swimming. I sink. I still sink in the water. Like even when people tell me relax,
Yeah.
relax, everything is okay. I'm just sinking. No matter where I go.
You're not
The only
swimming.
place, yeah, the only place I didn't sink was in the Dead Sea in Israel. Israel was like my first time when I was like, okay, I can surrender uh, to the water, and then flotation tank. There was another one. I did flotation tank, and that was pretty scary too. It actually in flotation tank, I went back to the memory where I was sinking, and when I woke up, I felt anxiety and I wanted to escape the tank, but I forgot where the button is. So
Wow.
I felt so claustrophobic. It was probably the most miserable spiritual experience I had.
Came back for the second session or not really? I guess you didn't come back.
Um, I don't know if when I'm going to do it. I think I will need I'll do it again. It's just I need to have the right mindset, and I need to learn. I've been learning to overcome the fear of water,
Mm-hmm.
mm, and it's been getting better. But still, I don't trust water fully. I need to be with somebody that is capable of saving me, and then I can surrender to water element.
I had something similar when I was probably like 11 in
Mhm.
Pakistan, in Ukraine as well, and we just went to
Mhm.
the pool with girls to play, and one of the girls didn't know how to swim, so I said, "Okay, I'll teach you." And they just threw her in the pool, and I was supposed to catch her, but because she got so scared, she just like sit on me and just started pushing me under the water, so I couldn't get out. It was like really really intense, like I don't know how many seconds, but it felt like it was like a second
Mhm.
of life. I thought I'm done. I'm just dying. And then somehow I just took her out and we were fine. But after that, I was always like, I'm not still afraid of the waters, but like if it's like open waters, especially if it's ocean or something, it's really has to be safe. But I guess, yeah, I have similar experience with that. But I was doing like just connecting to the waters for the last couple of years. If I'm traveling, I just connect to the actual ocean and to the waters. It's becoming really much easier to feel on the wave. It's like you're gonna feel it
Mhm.
in your life with life. It's like just surrender to it. It's like what's gonna happen to you? Like okay, you're gonna die, and then like, we're all gonna die anyway. It's like what's the worst thing gonna happen? It's like it's gonna happen anyway. It's like okay, so they just like surrender. But it's really hard to click something here just to actually surrender to it. But as soon as you do it, even for a second, you feel this like wow, it just scares me and it helps me and
Mhm.
helps me to navigate through those waves and energy and the flow. It's like how you become the
Mhm.
flow. You just flow with it. It's something that I experience now.
Well, you're right. That's the thing is when you feel when you feel that you are eternal, then death becomes something that you are not really scared as much. The
Mhm.
other question is, uh, would you want to die in a swimming pool? And having knowledge that you had just died in a swimming pool because you were experimenting will sound very silly. I'm kind of looking more for a more heroic death, you know, like go and do something and then die for a big cause.
That's I
So,
see.
so that's pretty interesting. And then, um, so how do you see at what age did you sort of realize that oh, death is just part of continuation or part of a new cycle? When did you start to sort of think about it more? Was there like a turning point, or there was something that changed within you?
Yes, maybe I don't know how many years ago. I guess maybe like 7 or 8 years. I guess that was the bigger of the part that I started experiencing and doing working with plant medicines. That
Mm-hmm.
actually, through one of the ceremonies, I actually experienced death of my physical body and it was reborn. Like I went through the whole cycle of dying and then being where we go after that,
Mm-hmm.
that realm, stay there, connect to my family, connect to angels. It was so beautiful. And then I had to go back to the human form, so actually get back to the human form and experience birth again. But for the mind, it
Mm-hmm.
was so hard to let go of the actual perspective that okay, I'm dying, and my mind is like, okay, I'm just dying, and it just holds and holds to this structure. It's like that's it. Okay, you're not gonna come back. And like
Mm-hmm.
you can't do anything. You just have to surrender. Because when the medicine works, you just have to surrender. Doesn't matter how much you fight, how strong you are,
Mm-hmm.
it's not gonna take you there. You're like, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
I am strong, but I can't hold this anymore. I'm like, okay, I'm just surrendering. And when I did it, it just went through this beautiful, painful but beautiful tunnel and experienced death and rebirth again and then again and
Mm-hmm.
again. So that was when it all started. And I started questioning, like, okay, so does it actually really exist? Or what's the religious people talking? Or like how many lives we live and what's happening after life? And then all
Uh-huh.
this beauty starts opening up and just seeing different perspective of everything. It becomes really beautiful.
I guess that's what it is what you just said is when you have the opportunity to go back to roots and use natural medicine that can trigger out of body experiences where you can go and die for let's say 5 to 10 minutes
Hmm.
and then you come back of it, you know. So during that journey for let's say 5 to 10 minutes, you know, or if you do ayahuasca it can last 5 hours.
Yes, that was
You
yeah.
yeah, being dead for 5 hours. Uh, you know, I'm gonna digress here for a second because I have a friend. Let me tell you. So I have this friend. Her name is Tanya. She will probably see this eventually. She went through a clinical death herself, and she's this brunette with gray eyes, and like you can tell the person either seen death or went through death. Like she had that energy, and the first date, one of the first dates, not the first one of the first dates was at the like at the graveyard. We went and we were walking around the graveyards.
Perfect place to meet at the first date.
Yes, yes, and
Very
really,
bluntly.
yes, I mean, we were just walking around, and she had a backpack. She had a back, she had a backpack with a thing like this, like a blanket, and we just sat down. So, and she's like, Ali, what'd you? That was the first conversation I had about death with somebody who you can tell seen it
Hmm.
firsthand. And she's like, you know, I've seen it, and we sat down, and she's like, I feel so calm here. I feel so calm, and this is such a good place. This was back in Portland, Oregon, and you know, my mind is so open towards everything. You know, really, like you can take me on a roller coaster of everything, and I'll just go with it. So, and I'm just sitting there, feeling a little bit uncomfortable because we were just sitting between few graveyards, like, and she's like, no, these spirits are okay. And then we started hugging each other, and then obviously something happened after that, something very sexually intense. And I felt like there was some sort of release coming from her, like she had to do with some release in a way. And then we left the place, and I had so many questions in my mind, but I never really asked anything. But all I'm saying is that there are these people that go through clinical death experiences, maybe not even once. In her case, I don't think it was once. And death kind of follows them, and, like she'd been to a lot of car accidents, near-death car accidents, and somehow she got away. And so there are these people, there are some people that walk on the edge, and they have profound understanding of death, and they are ready to surrender, like, very calmly, very sort of the energy that is willing to surrender to it at any given moment, and I respect and I love people like that, and I'm willing to go wherever they want to go and see their part of the world. And I mean, now with, as you said, with the plant medicine, we have shortcut. It's a real shortcut, just to take it and go there. And my last experience with alcohol, I'll use the medical term, the Latin term, mimosa hostilis, where I took it and smoked it in a vaporizer. And, granted, I cannot smoke anything. I cough, I have like asthma attack. It's the worst thing you can do to me is make me smoke anything, even if it's like air with water. I just feel bad. So my first experience, which was just a month ago doing this, I take this thing, inhale, and I start coughing so bad. Like I cough, I feel like I'm already dying from the cough. It's so strong. And I was like, my tongue, I felt like I'm losing my tongue. And then the guys were so scared when they did this to me. They were like, fuck, what is happening to him? And I was like, like coughing, like suffocating. And then all of the sudden, I started whispering surrender. And I didn't know that I was saying it. They told me that later when I woke up 10 minutes later, that I was saying surrender, surrender. But I was saying surrender, surrender. And the cough stopped, boom. And in that pitfall, seeing all kinds of colors, and seeing faces that I did not really want to see, but there was one face there of the conductor that I saw, and I was like, wow, what are you doing there in this realm? And this is when I realized I had to liberate myself from that energy in real world. So there is a lot of truth over there. And when I came back, when I woke up, I continued to cough. I continued, but I was not coughing during the trip. So for the 10 minutes, I was like literally dead. And then when I woke up, I was like, and I thought, wow, this is unreal. This is so unreal, because I normally cough. You give me weed, I'll cough no matter. And I was like, wow, this is real death, because it stopped my senses, breathing, And I was like, that was very profound, even from that perspective.
Wow. But do you feel when you came back, do you feel like you were coughing something out, like energetically? Because how I see
Yes. I coughed for the whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I coughed for the whole freaking day. Like I felt like I had to, and this is when basically same month I moved out of the place. I moved out of where I stayed, and I felt so much better. I felt so much better, even though the place I stayed, had all the beautiful gardens and swimming pools and saunas and all that stuff. You saw me exercising from sauna every day. That's all gone. That's all part of the past. But tennis, I was playing tennis there. Like you will see my tennis selfies. So all of that is gone. But I felt like, I didn't own any of that in the first place, and that energy is gone. I don't need it. So it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I'm very happy for friends that facilitated that and providing a good space. It was just amazing. It was
Glad
amazing. So,
to be held in that state and just continue.
hmm um, so now I wanted to ask you,
Yes.
like, from your perspective, when you die, how do you see yourself? Like, how do you see it as a transformation? Do you see as being eternal, or do you see heaven and hell? How do you sort of picture that yourself from your perspective? I mean, you can tell me your parents' perspective, or
Yeah,
what
so
you were conditioned and what you're thinking.
so basically, from the childhood, you think that you die and you go to heaven. Like, I mean, the earth is not a
Mm-hmm.
heaven. Or, I mean,
Yes.
in a way. So we just die and our life stops. So that's it, in a way. But then
Mm-hmm.
I had that experience, my first experience. I actually went through, and I went to this beautiful place where there was all angels and they were singing and like dancing, and there was just all this beautiful energy. It was like just energy. It doesn't have any bodies or
Mm-hmm.
anything, just energies. So female and male energies just floating
Mm-hmm.
around and just kind of like have this beautiful dance. And there was voices. All the men's voices were kind of the same vibration, same tone, and all the women one were the same tone. And I'm like, oh my God, this is home. So I felt like I was home, and I was actually laughing and crying at the same time so hardly. It was just, and my voice was like so thin, like a I don't even know. I'm not even a child, but like very, very famous, like really, really
Mm-hmm.
happy. I was like just giggling, like for I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
long, like half an hour. That all the groups start giggling. They're like, what is she's going through right now that she's like so happy?" So I had to just kind of go through it, and then when I realized, I'm like, okay, so that's where I am. I'm home. This is where I came from. They're like, yes, this is your home. So this is how it feels when you actually go through this process of being human. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Thank you. And he's like, okay, now you're ready to go back to your human form, to continue your journey that you learn.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally our school, the school of life that we go to learn, to get experience, physical, emotional, all different kinds of learnings. I'm like, okay, so now I'm ready. And I just like, boom, went back again. And it was, and I'm like, wow, I'm back to my body. I'm like, how my bodies actually look like. I'm like, wow, this is that was really interesting to reconnect to the physical body. It's like how the spirit it actually resides inside of me. Wow, it was really really beautiful. So now, so after that, like I worked for maybe like 10 years with people who's like older, and every time they just come in and start talking about death and how bad things are and stuff like that. And I actually stopped feeling sorry for people who's dying. In a way,
Mm-hmm.
some people don't even get me. They're like, "What are you talking? Why do you feel sorry?" I said, "I don't feel sorry because I know it's going to be a beautiful process and it's going to be a beautiful transition. So we don't die. Your body will die, but your
Mm-hmm.
spirit will transform into something else. So you're not going to die, you're still going to be connected to everything and it's just going to be a different form of you." So I start talking to people about it, especially older people, when they start talking about the fear of death. And I'm like, this is just
Mm-hmm.
what puts you in problems because you fear that, but it's going to happen anyway. So what's the point of fear of that? Just enjoy your day, enjoy your life, like take it as your last day. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to sing? Do you want to play? Do you want to eat like, I don't know, cake or something? So, like, what are you thinking of doing for the whole your life, but you weren't allowing yourself to live this life because you think, oh no, I'm gonna die because of this or that. So when you release yourself from this kind of programming of fear of death, the life it just becomes really, really beautiful. And when people die, and I just say, if they are back home, they don't have to suffer if they were physically suffering a lot, which most people do. But if you can work this through in a physical form, then you don't really have to suffer. Life just becomes this beautiful dance with all those energies in a way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, so what is interesting, there was this movie, Russian movie called Ostrov Island.
Mm-hmm.
and there was a priest in there.
Mm-hmm.
Hear you better.
Yeah.
Okay, so, some of my friends have issues with sound on your end, but it's okay. I think I can hear you
Here
fine, but yeah,
you
I
go.
heard you okay. I actually heard your whole message. Oh,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
now better. It's actually much better now.
Mm-hmm.
So in that movie, Ostrov, it showed this priest who knew exactly when he's gonna die, and he basically he told everyone else to get ready for his death, and he
Mm-hmm.
died on the day that he predicted. And that, when I saw that, that reminded me a lot of the elders in Tanzania. There are some of the tribes, like one of the elders in our tribe. He said, okay, like my grandfather told me. He said, Ali, come,
Mm-hmm.
because next time there will be no next time, because I'm gonna pass away.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's still alive, obviously, but he told me that. And then we have other elders who basically predict within weeks time that they're gonna go, and they just fall asleep and then they don't wake up, right?
No.
So we see them as the enlightened ones. We see
Mm-hmm.
them as some real elders who are profoundly wise, and they purify themselves so much that they just say goodbye and they leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when you have that deep understanding of death, life and death, it's just supernatural. Really, it is supernatural, but it's part of us. I guess once you grow to that level of awareness of yourself, of knowing yourself, then it can happen. In Western world, obviously, you don't meet people like that. It's only on some maybe tribal level, or some high priests, like Staravera, old believers in
Mm-hmm.
Russia, and
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty close to that. So
Yes.
I'm
The people who works with nature, I find as well, if you're connected to
yeah,
the nature, so it's like the
yes,
cycle. It always continues. It never stops.
yes, yes, yeah. I mean, it's like the cycle of cocoon that becomes a butterfly and then goes back. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, I was fascinated at that, and it made me, it's sort of, when I was there and I talked to pagans, I talked to religious people and different ethnicities and all that, because there's like 128 tribes within Tanzania itself, and each and everyone believes in something of their own. But what many of these pagans have in common is that
Mm-hmm.
they do believe in the energy that sort of reincarnates.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happens, uh, or that happens to you, or you happen to the death, then there is this cycle that you go through, and you may become somebody else. So, but the
And they
idea
they
here,
and they teach that to generations, right? So they just pass this through generations.
yes, yeah, it's a word of mouth. It's nowhere
Mm-hmm.
to be written. Many of the indigenous Tanzanian cultures, they they don't have anything in writing.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is no such thing as a Book of Masai, for example. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't exist. There's only maybe one or two dictionary books that were released, and no one released them again. So, what is really interesting is that there is no fear of death
Mm-hmm.
within indigenous people, and they do see that if you live if you live a good life, then the next karmic cycle, you have to work with less pain,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of born being more awakened. You're
Mm-hmm.
awake about surroundings, about what's going on in the world, and this and that. So you're sort of more predisposed to be awake. And so that's what we also define as old souls.
Mm-hmm.
People with old souls that they've been here a lot, they've seen a lot, they're kind of feeling tired, like some of these people, they're like, oh, it's just, I've been here before, I've seen this deception, I've seen this hypocrisy, I've seen this and that, and I'm just like tired of it. I just, give me the exit pill and I will leave any given moment. But even they have a mission here to fulfill,
Yes.
those that came here so long. The mission is to spread the message of love, elevate vibrations, and there are many things, because otherwise, if you don't fulfill the mission that you were given then your life becomes very futile and without any purpose, right? This is why it's so hard to convince people to just, hey, you have to wake up. Like, you tell somebody, this is what's happening in the world, and you start arguing with the person about what's going on, and then the person is like, no, you go watch CNN tells you what's happening, or something like that, we have to really vibrate with those that are sort of on the same level, but spread the message to everybody else without really trying to convince them. Just spread the message. And Sergey's writing a message.
Yeah, you can read it, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Sergey. We see you. He's in Mexico right now with the shaman.
Yeah,
That's
you can read
beautiful,
it, so we
Serge.
can.
Yeah, he says he's
Yeah,
had a death-like experience recently while having Tepos Kahui ceremony
something.
in Mayan jungle with shaman in Mexico. Don't afraid of death from that moment. Oh wow, that's
Amazing.
amazing. That's an
Yes,
amazing transformation. Uh,
that's
so
exactly
he
what we
had
were
an answer
talking
from
about.
aliens. Wow, it's interesting. That's
Hmm. Thank you for
That's
sharing.
amazing.
Yes.
Wow, man, it's interesting. We just decided to have this conversation about death, and then I didn't even know I didn't even know that he had that experience out
I
there, and
think
I'm
this is
very
something
happy.
that people not really want to share in certain way because they're gonna be
Yes.
like, oh, you're not kind of normal in a way,
Hmm.
or like, what are you doing something different that everybody else does? But then we start actually talking about it. You realize that there's so many people and there's such a beautiful and huge community of all of us that actually on this
Yes.
path. And we don't have to hide. It's
Wow.
like it's time now to like talk about things like this.
Yes.
So
Well,
thank you,
this
Sergey, for
video,
sharing.
yeah, thank you so much. This podcast is probably for you. If it
Oh,
touches
you
one
see, here
heart,
you
it's
go.
so
The
deep.
first, yes, perfect. This is our first time actually as well. So yay,
Oh
we're
my God, he's the
newbies in this way.
That's so awesome, man. That's probably one of the most beautiful synchronicities out there. I'm on fire. Like all of my stuff, the temperature is like fire. I feel like,
Plus, you're in a desert. You're already prepared for it. Like the super hot
yes, it's so
already.
hot. It's so hot already. He brought me too much heat, man. Like you, I'm already suffering from heat.
This is
Let
a
me drink.
perfect time to hydrate. That's actually a really
Yeah,
good topic.
let me turn the fan because it got really hot. Hold on, hold on. Okay,
Perfect.
wow. Whew. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Sergey, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this. Wow. Wow, what a trip. What a trip.
I'm not sure you were trying to say something, but if you remember, I actually don't remember, so don't count me on those things. Like I just go in a flow and like what I was talking about a minute ago. Okay, let's just continue something different. It's all on me. Perfection.
We had what were we talking about was it had to do with so back to the elders. Elders
Yes.
were realizing. So from my understanding, talking to elders is that once you if you're an old soul who went through many cycles, eventually, once you complete, there is like an end of the road. So it's like you don't have to keep reincarnating all the time. And this is the part that I did not really got super clear. But they said there is also a way to stop the incarnation cycle eventually. And I want to talk to you more about this because ancestral knowledge about it is that you eventually can get out of the cycle and go out there. You know, if you fulfilled a mission, you know, let's say, I don't know, people, maybe some religious teachers, maybe Buddha, maybe Jesus, and everybody else, and they're like, okay, done, you know, not coming back again, not reincarnating. So I'm just saying that there is that possibility that I think is out there.
Probably, definitely is. You know, everything exists. Everything exists in this multidimensional reality. So I guess if we choose to, then we can come back. If you don't want to, then you can just wait in a way. But I definitely believe that if you work on yourself and on your ancestors, like I had a couple experiences that I like, if you work on certain things that your like a tree of your like your grandparents needed to work through, and they choose you for this work, then you work through it, whatever you need to go through, and you cleanse and clear their karma as well. So it actually helps them, and it's going to help generations after you as well. So in this case, it's not just like you're only working on yourself, you're actually helping them to cleanse, and they're still alive, they're just in different dimension. And they still see you, they're with you, they always help you, they guide you how to, what to do and which way to go. And if you're willing to listen and if you're willing to actually do the work, then your life actually going to change, and you might change the whole, their reincarnations as well, and your kids'
Yes.
reincarnations. That's how I see it as well. I'm not sure if that's somehow connected, but I don't know, we'll see. It's
Yeah,
possible to.
yeah, yes. Also, there is another part that I was resonating is that uh, there is this term, I forgot the tribal term, is that most of us are asleep, right? So most of us are asleep. Death is the awakening. So during death, we're actually awakening. So it's totally reversed.
But
During
do you
death, there
think
is
they talk about ego death? Could that be again like a chance or a possibility? Not the actual
like,
physical death, but the ego death.
you
So
mean what you
your like
experience with,
your mind will die because our mind is controlling us, saying, okay, this is like you're in this box, and if you're gonna get out of the box, you're gonna die. So just always try to keep you in this particular beautiful, nice box. And then when you open the box, you're like, okay, I'm done. Like the mind saying like, that's it. I can't survive, but it just expands more. I'm not sure if
Sergey is
that's.
saying, Sergey is just elaborating more on what you said about third dimension that we're experiencing, and then there are more. I certainly believe that. I certainly believe that there is way more dimensions out there, and I do. I'm kind of digressing now, but on that topic, people say that some of us are already in fourth dimension, or we're already in fourth. I don't actually feel the fourth dimension. I feel like it's somewhere coming, like maybe aliens show up, or people that are doing channeling, or fourth dimension is when you do one of the once you do like one of those spiritual trips or ego death trips, you can go out there and yeah, and you can just leap forward into that. But I think, yeah, I think the idea is to eventually elevate yourself so that you don't come back to third dimension. Maybe there is another reality someplace else where you can end up after the actual death. So let's say we take medicine and we dive into another place, you know, from which we extract something. We take it from there, and then we come back to this earth and we try to work with that information and see how it can how we can propel with that information, right? That's
It
how it feels
helps to
like.
expand. It helps
Yes,
you
yeah,
expand and it helps you grow and become a better human. I guess the
yeah,
idea of us just survive and become a better human in a human form, the best we can do. Again, like like the kids they were born, they always a little bit better than our like parents. And then next generation, doesn't matter, they always a little bit better, I guess, but it's just they more aware of what's happening in the world and how to be in
yes.
this and that timing, like at that certain timing. So just to if you work on yourself and you do it, then it helps you to experience those like upgrades. I guess I call them,
Yeah, yeah.
like in the
It's
program is sitting like it's just like let's upload a new program. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, like, let's go.
yes. That's wonderful. That's actually so wonderful when you.
It's like we're like computers. Okay, like let's work with this.
You know, I'm. Let me tell you, it's funny thing, but I think Sergey really vibes very well with you. I will definitely connect you two, because I
Perfect. Would
remember
love to then.
also, yeah, he's also, his human design is very similar to yours. He's a projector, just like you. So so that's I can see how it goes. I can see the vibe there.
Perfect. I would love to know more projectors.
But to elaborate more on the death, I think the way they see awakening, the tribal people, is yes, when you do ego death, when you go through shamanic ceremonies, that's where the awakening happens. That's where you can just experience that awakening, and then I mean, the ultimate awakening is when, when somebody really dies and then they go
Yes.
there and then see what happens. But in our lifetime, we can experience these awakenings through, somebody does holotropic breathing or breath work. Someone just goes on a mushroom journey. Someone takes mimosa, DMT, I mean, ayahuasca. There's just so many ways, so many gateways.
Meditation or anybody like even like if you just go on a diet or not diet, this fasting.
Fasting?
Yes.
Yes.
So that helps too because your
Oh,
body's going to
yes.
start changing so you can actually and breathing as well. If you start breathing like naturally will release DMT as well. So you can get high from breathing properly. So like how cool is that? In a way. But
Yeah. Something just came to my mind when I was in Canada, by the way. So Geta took me to this ayahuasca ceremony, and before that, they told me that I have to cleanse and I have to go through fasting. And so I wasn't really eating for 3 days. And on the third day, I already started seeing things. I was like,
yeah,
okay,
it's
I don't
like
need to do the ceremony. I'm already like glitching. I'm already like seeing visions. Like the table is not there. Things are just like, what's ayahuasca gonna do to me? It's probably gonna amplify everything that I already feel. And yes, of course, when I went through it, it was probably one of the most deep and profound experience. I didn't really enjoy the shaman, but I try not to pay attention of the shaman. There's like a lot of criticism of people in shaman, and there was that vibe. But I try to sort of separate myself from it, and we can talk separately about
yes. I
ayahuasca experiences at some point and what we saw, and
It's going
I
to be a
think it's
beautiful
important.
topic. Yes.
Oh yes, we're
I
gonna share
love
a
this
lot.
talk. Yes. I do really.
What?
It's like, yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah, we definitely, yeah, that can go into at least 40 minutes to an hour talk because ayahuasca by itself, the whole preparation and being in the environment. Mine was in Canada, which was just right where you were, and the most I haven't tried it ever since. It was just one time that I did it, and I feel like whenever happens next, I'll do it again. But it was just the most unforgettable, long 5 hour death experience. Five
Experience.
hours just like going and just wow. Amazing. Amazing.
They're really like every time you go out, you think, why I'm doing this? Why did I sign up for this? And it's like, why? Why would I do this thing for myself? And then at the end, you're like, now I get it. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's
Mm-hmm.
for. It's like whatever,
Well,
whatever it feels like, how painful or how mentally challenging it could be. At the end, it's always like gives you this like a aha moment. It's like, wow, that's what
yeah.
it's for. This is what
Mm-hmm.
it's like the same, I guess, idea for life as well. It's like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing here? Why I came back?
Mm-hmm.
Or what's the point of it? And then certain parts is like this aha moments, like that's what it's for. That's what it's all for. And it's so beautiful to experience that.
Well, and there is also a reason why it is available. There is also a reason
Plus,
why
in tribes,
we
it's like been years and
yes.
years of like healing and for humans.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we definitely it's definitely available for a reason, and it's just now with internet, with all the information that we get out there,
Mm-hmm.
it's just we're living actually in one of the best times. I cannot imagine talking about this to my mom or who born in Soviet Union,
Yes, I
and
know it's really hard.
like that yeah. I mean, in that environment, try to convey them about out of body experiences or anything shamanic. Just try. It's just they'll be like, "What are you talking about? What kind of
Yeah.
drug? What
Yes.
kind of drugs are those?"
I had those talks. Yes, I did had those talks already a couple of years ago. But you know what? Now it's different. Like the energy and people are actually
Hmm.
changing. So more people
Yes.
are opening, and the more you change, the more your parents, your friends, your coworkers, they can see
Yes.
like how you change.
Yes.
They're like, so what are you doing?
Yes.
Like, what's your secret?
Hmm.
Like, like what is this?
Yes. It's right. You lead by example. That's the thing. You don't have to really convince anyone of
Mm-hmm.
everything. We're going back to this topic where it's pointless to convince and go into these like long-ranging debates on Twitter or Instagram
No.
about some political point of view or any point of view. You just lead by your example. You just show what it is that is important to you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's it. And then you're gonna eventually attract people that resonate with this. Once
Mm-hmm.
you find people that resonate with this, you don't really need anybody else. You just set a common goal. You repost what they post, and it becomes your own internal network that is very functional. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just. Oh, Sergey is back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's
Uh,
see.
I've got an insight. I've got an insight that it is like the video game. There is a main scenario and missions out here, but here there is also some Easter eggs, and those who like to explore more. By Easter eggs, I mean ayahuasca, DMT, mushrooms, etc. Good, good.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. That is
That's a good
so wonderful.
start for, I found it's really nice too. It's like opening the door for you. If you actually questioning, you want to know, it's like, okay, so I'm going to open the door for you and you can
Mhm,
just follow. It's like Alice in Wonderland. She was always curious,
mhm,
like, what is this? How does it look like? How would that be? And you just open the
mhm,
door and it shows you what actually exists. How does it all created? Who we are, what's the world and everything, your experience. And then you go back and like, how do you digest this information after that? What do you do with it? Do you change yourself? Do you
yeah,
change the world? Do you just forget about everything? Make like nothing actually happened? Like there's a lot of um, transition in a way, but then you have to do it
mhm,
yourself again. Like it's
mhm,
not a savior. It's like this happy
yes,
pill. You take it, and the world just becomes butterflies and rainbows and unicorns.
mhm,
Like you're happy. No, it's
mhm,
it just you have to transform yourself in a way and work through
mhm,
like fear of death. Like I guess that probably 99% of
mhm,
people is actually have this fear. And what I see, like how what fear does to you, it just really you get so intense in your body, in your emotions, like in your mind. It's like you can't move on anywhere because you're so intense, like literally just like, and you can't live your life anymore. So releasing that
mhm.
fear with death really, really helps too. become
Hmm.
alive again.
Yes, it's so true. Sergey just posted a few things. He's so outspoken today. I'm so happy to see him. Uh, he says, yeah, if you don't wonder, you will never find it. Like 95% of people who are sleeping, like I said, it's not bad, it's just material experience that people get.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, to continue on that topic, it's just like we can only set, and I really, Anastasia, I have so much respect for you for working with these plant medicines and just finding a way to spread the message and talk about this more and being a provider, being a guide, being a true
Thank
guide
you.
for many other people. You know, that deserves a lot of respect.
Mm-hmm.
Because because of people like you and I, in a way, we help
Mm-hmm.
facilitating. I see you more as a guide. I'm more like a preacher in a way. I'm like I
I
brute
mean,
force
I do
things,
that
but
too sometimes.
yes,
I
but
do.
yes, yeah, but I really like that energy you bring, and like people, you just give them a link, and then
Mm-hmm.
they go and they work with this, and they open things up for themselves, and that's what it needs, and it's amazing, really.
It's like a garden, you just plant a seed and you
Hmm.
wait until the seed is gonna grow. And actually, I just get this the death, the seed thinks like it's dead because it's in a dark, warm
Hmm.
place. Like it's so dark and it
Hmm.
doesn't look like what is it, I guess, in a way. It's like just dark and moist, there's no life. And then everything
Hmm.
just becomes the life start growing and it grows and grows and it becomes a beautiful flower or a tree or something. So it's kind of
Yes.
very similar like what our soul in a way is like, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done, death, died, rebirth.
Done and dusted. I'm done
Done.
and dusted.
So the seed is growing eventually.
Oh
It
my
just needs
God, yes.
time to actually time to work or whatever, absorb the nutrients, get all this
Hmm.
like beautiful moisture and everything in the water and the sun. It should be perfect condition as well. So I always find this like very nice analogy as well for our life. It's like if we're gonna grow, like how are we gonna bloom? Like, are we gonna like what's the condition around us to create this? Or somebody's gonna come in and just cut you down and that's it, you're done. It's like
Hmm.
you're done, you're done.
It's true. It's true. And like it's amazing how, imagine how people like us will be finding one another 60, 70 years ago. Obviously, you have to be very well in tune with awareness. You have to be very well in tune with universe to be finding people like that so quickly,
Mm-hmm.
because it used to be that there were like just groups of five, and then they will find somebody else, and that's it. They were smaller. And now with our internet, it just enables you so much, to connect with
Mm-hmm.
people, like, I mean, the fact that Sergey is out there in Mexico with the shamans just sharing that experience with us is just so amazing. I mean,
Yes.
how in the world we will have that possible? So I'm
Plus,
very
I'm in
happy.
Canada, you're in US, he's there
Yes,
too. It's like,
yes. Oh yeah,
wow.
we have Canada,
Yes.
Mexico. Yeah, we have Canada, US, Mexico. Woo!
Yeah.
He's like he's the missing link. Yeah, Canada, US, Mexico. Like that's amazing. That is just so amazing. Let me say bye to him. Bye, Sergey.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. It was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
nice.
yeah. That was beautiful. That was really beautiful to have him. And I know what it means for someone to go through it. It's a big and profound
Mm-hmm.
meaningful experience. And wow. I'm just really. It turns out to be
Mm-hmm.
amazing, right? this
Yes,
this
I
podcast is
know.
just
Like, let's
and we're
try.
just the
Let's just
beginning.
talk.
Yes, yeah, just experimenting, and it just something beautiful comes out of it.
Do you have any other questions about death
I
or
mean,
life, I guess?
we're just scratching the surface.
I know, yes, there's so many
Just,
things. But what do you think would suggest to people in a way that what would help them to resonate better with that? Like what, like for the person who's actually like afraid, like for my mom, for example, I hope she's not
yes.
gonna watch that. Like, she has this she has a really like as soon as she starts thinking about it, she has her blood pressure goes really, really high right away, and she's like in so much
Uh-huh.
stress. And this is how she's kind of programming herself, thinking, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be alone, or something's gonna happen, or blah blah
Yes.
blah blah blah." So you're just kind of making, and it physically actually affects you. It really, really does. So just like, what would you suggest for the person like that? I would say, from your perspective.
Well, first of all, I'll say the number one thing is that you are what you believe, right? That's number
Hmm.
one. So whatever people believe, that's what they are. But there is also external factor, like you are mom's external factor. And what I've been telling to myself, what I've been telling to everybody around me is that you are eternal. I always say the
Hmm.
same thing. I always preach the same thing. You are eternal. And if somebody questions me, I say, okay, try to prove me otherwise, that I'm not eternal.
Hmm.
Uh, so no matter what teachings you look, no matter what scriptures you look, most of them come to the same sort of conclusion that there is something happens afterwards, you either go
Hmm.
here or there, so which means you are eternal, meaning you are a soul. Like I'm talking to you soul to soul. There is a nice music band. I'm gonna send you the song Soul to Soul. They have a very good song, Back to Life, Back to Reality.
Yes,
Uh,
back to life, back to reality. Yes, send it,
yes,
send it. I would love to listen to
amazing,
it.
amazing. That'll be our song. It's soul
Okay.
to soul. So our communication is soul to soul, and when you say you're eternal, it means the soul is eternal, right?
Hmm.
So if somebody does not believe that the soul is eternal, then goodbye, Felicia. Just you cannot you cannot have a conversation after that.
Hmm.
You just keep preaching that you are eternal, I am eternal, and you are not going to be alone because you will, you can say you can reconnect with angels, you will reconnect with people you saw. I mean, it's a
Family,
whole new,
parents, and
yes, yes, yeah, yeah. What their values are, family,
yes,
parents,
most,
grandparents,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So and I believe that somewhere along that road, when the body gives up and the soul leaves, they will connect with all of them,
Hmm.
because I believe that everything manifests. So if they really want to see a great grandfather, eventually they will see them in some realm. Um,
Yes.
I'm not sure if they'll have a memory in their future life about that meeting, but the soul will retain that
Hmm.
memory, and it'll be a blissful moment.
Sorry, so I see that being notified that we have 1 minute and 25 seconds remaining.
Good,
So I'm like, oh,
good.
okay. So we have,
1 minute.
okay,
That
one
was
in,
beautiful.
I
We
know.
actually in the
I
nick of
didn't feel
time,
like it was an hour.
Yes,
It's very easy to talk to you.
yes. Awesome.
So we
Well, we
can
have
save a couple.
electromagnetic channels. We have electromagnetic channels that just
Tam tam
boom create lots of
tam.
new flowers.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you,
Yeah, you're
everyone
very.
who was here participating, chatting, waving, and being just energetically with us. And thank you so much
Thank you.
for my first live with you.
You're very welcome, and I'm grateful to you as well. More to come.
Hmm. Definitely. Thank you. You want to
All
say
right.
seconds? There's 30 seconds left. Quick note
Well, I just want to say much unconditional love to everyone. That's all.
and hugs. Thank you so much. Love you too.
You
Bye
too.
bye.
Bye bye.